Welcome to Bourbon School. I'm Brian, and today I'm going to give you my list of whiskeys I want to add to my shelf in 2025. Coming right up. All right, guys, so new year, and there's always new stuff coming out and things that you want to add to your shelf. And for me, I'm not really going to go through releases that are coming out this year. This is more about brands that I'm looking to add to my shelf. Some are newer brands. Some are brands we just haven't had around the area, but I'm determined to go get one this year instead of just hearing about how great they are. I'm going to find a way to add them to my shelf this year. So I've got 6 bourbons, actually whiskeys, because some are not officially bourbons, that I want to add. And these are brands, and we'll talk about a couple of examples of ones that I'm looking for in each brand, but really these are the brands I want to add to my shelf. Now I have to say, in the interest of full disclosure, totally stole this topic. Todd from 21090 did a short a couple weeks back where he did this exact topic. I think it was like, here are 5 brands I want to add to my shelf this year, I want to get this year. And I thought, man, what a great idea. And I always have this list of brands that I'm looking to get. So I was like, let's just make a video about it to perhaps get some additional ideas. And that's, when we're all done here, I want you guys to comment with maybe some other brands that maybe we don't all know about, that aren't widely spread, and maybe you can add to my list. But also maybe there's somebody out there that can procure some of these brands and find a way to get them here to Western New York, because we'd be so grateful if we could. So I'm just gonna get right into my list. And like I said, I've got 6 brands here. Some of these I have actually had. Let's see, 5 of the 6 I've actually had. One I have not, but I've heard so many great things about. So let's start with that one. My first one, and like I said, this is the one I haven't had, is Hard Truth. Hard Truth is out of Nashville, Indiana. And I know when everybody hears Indiana, they immediately think of MGP. No. They do not source from MGP. They are a craft distillery. They source local grains in Indiana. They distill their own. It's sweet mash bourbon, which means they don't use any ingredients from a previous batch. It's all fresh ingredients, and they, from all accounts, make really good bourbon and rye. Locally, I have just started to see the sweet mash bourbon and the sweet mash rye show up on the shelves around here. Those basic shelfers come in at 90 proof. I am much more interested in finding some of the bottles that they have French oaked and double oaked finished bourbons and ryes. And they have some cask strengths that I haven't seen around here. And I would love to get some of those finished bourbons and some of those higher proof bourbons on my shelf. They just haven't shown up in our area yet. But Hard Truth out of Indiana, I've heard great things about, and I can't wait to get some of those whiskeys in the glass. Next is Detling. Detling is out of Alabama. And they call their whiskey field to bottle. So they are like Frey Ranch and a lot of others. Actually, there's a lot of distilleries I'll talk about here that are kind of grain to glass, farm to bottle, however you want to say it. But Detling's out of Alabama, and I have had a couple of samples of the 1867 cask strength bourbon, and it is absolutely delicious. For only being aged 4 years or so, it really is good stuff. It has a really dark, rich color. It's got a ton of flavor. It's Alabama, so they get some of that high heat aging down there, and it really does give the flavor a lot more punch. Like I said, the couple of samples I have had have been delicious, and it can get a little pricey. I mean, a cask strength Detling bottle can get up into $90 or over $100 sometimes, but it's still within our range. So I'd love to get a bottle of Detling on my shelf this year. Next, we're going to stay in the South with JT Melic. This is not one that's unheard of. I think JT Melic is starting to become a little more widely distributed. But the interesting thing about JT Melic, this is not a bourbon. This is rice whiskey. So they have a special special strain of rice that they use that they claim makes exceptional whiskey. And they are another one that is grain to glass. Everything is right there in their operation down in Louisiana. I have had a couple of samples from our buddy Haas. Rob Walker has given me some. I actually have a couple more over on the bar still, but it has been good. I would love to grab a couple of cast strength bottles. Again, I tend toward, as you know, we tend towards the higher proof stuff. So I wouldn't mind grabbing a couple of JT Melican cast strengths and have them on the shelf, because so far it's been really good stuff. Next, another grain to glass. This is a very small craft distillery in South Dakota called Black Fork Farms. If you remember, about a year ago, we did a review of 3 bottles. We did a rye, a bourbon, and then their cask 120 bourbon, which is their cask strength. And all 3 of them were absolutely exceptional. I would love to get a bottle of that cask 120 on my shelf. They are only in South Dakota. And I don't really know another way, unless I know somebody who's going to South Dakota or somebody who's watching who lives in South Dakota, to get one. But I'll tell you right now, the Black Fork Farms has been the best craft distillery that we have reviewed on this channel. It's been the best craft bourbon or rye that we've had on this channel. It's absolutely phenomenal, and would love to get a bottle, especially a bottle of that cask 120. All right, next up is not a distiller. They are an independent bottler, and they're called Lost Lantern, and they're located in Vermont. And I love the idea of what they do, and the couple of samples of theirs that I've had have been absolutely delicious. So Lost Lantern, what they do is they go and basically pick barrels from different distilleries, and then they either release them as single barrels, which makes them very limited. I mean, it's one and done. Or they also blend. So they've got a blend series where they will take whiskeys from different distilleries and blend them into a single batch. And I think that's kind of cool. And they've got several versions of the bourbon. They've got rye. They've got some others as well in this blend series. And then they have single casks, again, where they go around to a distillery like New Riff or Woodinville or some others out there that you've heard of, and they'll pick a barrel and they're going to bottle that and sell it as a one-off. I really like the idea of that. I think it's a husband and wife team. And I think the idea of just these folks going and like finding a barrel that's like, boom, this is the barrel for us, and we're going to put it out there. I like that idea. I love single barrels anyway. And Lost Lantern, like I said, the couple of samples that I've had have been really great, and it's an interesting concept. So I would love to like kind of sift through what they have out there, go on Sealbox and find the Lost Lanterns that they have, and just kind of find one that really seems like, man, this one sounds really good, and grab a couple of those and get them back here and enjoy them. All right, my last one on the list is Corbin Cash out of California. Unless you've been living under a rock, you have heard of Corbin Cash. At least if you watch WhiskeyTube, you know the name. So this is another farm to glass distillery. It is a working farm. They grow Merced rye and they grow sweet potatoes on this farm. And then they use the Merced rye, the grain, in their whiskey. They have both rye and bourbon. 21090 had a couple of amazing hazmat picks just recently. We were lucky enough on the Whiskey 6 to try them. Todd and Andy were very generous and sent us samples. The rye was up over 140 and the bourbon was 150 proof. And they were both absolutely incredible. I have heard that Corbin Cash is going to start getting distributed in New York State very soon, so I'm hoping it becomes a little easier to grab here in my area. But man, oh man, like those, and those are the only 2 samples I've had so far, but they were absolutely fantastic. And I really would look forward to grabbing a couple bottles of Corbin Cash. Speaking of the Whiskey 6, guys, if you're not subscribed yet, I'm going to put the link up here. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It's a little side project that we do with a few other channels, our friends in WhiskeyTube, like the Bourbon Note and Bourbon Drop and Whiskey Wars and Bad Axe Bourbon. We have a great time. We stream a couple times a month. We always have a great guest, usually somebody else from WhiskeyTube, and it's a lot of fun. So give us a subscription so that you never miss an episode. We've got one coming up on February 6th, and our special guest is going to be Wade from the Bourbon Hall. And also, if you like this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss an episode right here of Bourbon School. And let us know in the comments, what are some of your bourbons you want to get on your shelf, some of the whiskeys. It could be a specific bottle, it could be a brand, it could be a distillery that maybe you haven't gotten yet that you're determined to grab this year. As far as Bourbon School goes, we are determined to get these 6 brands on our shelf this year. And when we do, you can look forward to reviews of all of them. Take care, guys, and cheers.